So if we use an array as group of scores for student, we pass that to initialize to a constructors. Then we can this dot scores equals to scores. If we use that, we technically don't need a multi-dimensional array, right? So we can just, if I comment this part out first, we can just use single, and whenever we instantiate the object here, we pretty much just create a array which is scores, and do that prompt the user to enter the scores, right? Like double and other scores, right, equals to new scores. Now it just depends on new double. The size is, if we talk about 4 scores, so it's 4, and then we just do for each for that score, right? For loop in I equal to 0, I less than. We have to declare scores outside, otherwise not going to see it. The scores dot length, and then I plus plus. So in this case, we can just prompt the user to enter the score, right? We can just do the same right here, but score is going to be double, so we can do the double dot parse double, and this is going to be score. Enter score, and let's concatenate with the I, like the score 1, score 2, and score 3, right? Enter score 1, score 2, which is scale loop, and prompt the user, and that should be initialized outside. Then you see the length. Now scores I pretty much just where student just start to enter them in, and then when we create object, we just pass it scores, and that should do, right? With single dimension, just 2 of them. Like this is not nested, so we can just make it but it's the same. Yeah, it's nested for the purpose of this single dimension for each score. Now this one doesn't need that. Let's test this one first, and I'll show you in the case that we don't use this array object, right? Then we have to do 2-dimensional arrays. Score 0, because it's an array. If you want to say 1 plus 1, right? Score 0, say I score 1, 89, 99, 78, and the student name. This is the second student, right? Age, scores 99, 100. Okay. And the student name, yes, James. Okay. then we get all the scores. Oh, but I didn't do the toString for that, right? If I do the toString for score, it's going to show the score too. Which, when you go to student, you can just... Now, since it's the loop, then you pretty much just need to do loop, right? To return the scores. So, let's declare string score. Score txt equals to pretty much just scores itself loop. It's going to be for each. We can do for each, right? For we're going to get the values, which is double s score from scores. Then this is going to be for each scores, we want to concatenate to the scores text. And let's concatenate to escape sequence tab. And that means you already print out the score for each. Then you can just concatenate to the student information. We have student name, student age, then we want to concatenate to student score. Let's do a new line here. Let's concatenate at the end like that. Right, student scores for each subject. So this is going to be concatenated to score txt. This is just try to do the printout pretty much for toString. You want to include the score cell. Let's see if I can use comma. Plus equals, since we have plus equals, so that's why equals to s. Okay. Let's do tab. Okay. Now we want to do like specific word like score 1, score 2, score 3. Maybe we want to do for I equals to, then I can do I 0, 1, 2, 3. This is, since I do for each, there's no I for me to use here. Alright, so let's run again. There you go. Seems like it's only output the last scores because of this. Right, I didn't do plus equals, so it's replace it. Right, so that's the reason why I try to do plus equals. Let's concatenate it. Right, let's go show all the scores with a tab. Now you may see that, let's do just 2 for now then, just to test, and 3 scores. Try to shorten the tab here. Okay. Like that, right? So it's return age, student name, scores, and what the student talk about. So this is how we do it without the two-dimensional arrays. Now if you want to put into the two-dimension, it's pretty much very similar, but the way that we refer to objects. So if you refer to object, it's better this way, right? Store it as the array. But sometimes you may use it without the object. Then, like I said, you can just, if you put it back 2 dimensions and the number of scores, let's just do 3 assignments for now. Then this part you pretty much just don't need it, and then it looks like it's the same nested loop here. You can see that it's the same principle here, but we just replace it with, okay, I'm going to say columns, which is your I leave it like that, and put a columns, which is what, the length of your students with the row, and like pretty much that's your score, right, for each of that. And we going to prompt the user to, hey, enter your score, and instead of refer to scores to put the score in, we can just do the array, right, of students for each row has its score. You may see that you not store it into an object anymore. You store it in display in an array at this point. Row, right, I. And now there's a problem again here. This is a student, so it seems like we have to pass in, because this type is double, right? And this is a student type. That means we need something like this instead, right? So we still have to do something like this, and then you going to need to put pass a score to set. We're going to create an object with student name and age first, and then we have to go to students. But instead of creating an array of scores, which we normally don't do that, but this is the purpose of showing, like score 1, right? Score 2 and score 3. The reason we don't do this because who knows that student only have 3 scores. You have to upgrade again, right? Then we better use an array. Make sense? But this is just a sake of showing if you use multi-dimensional array, how would you do that? I'm going to generate them. Now we can switch back, and here is where you can just say the same students at that row, and I do dot set score 1, which is score.